My name is Ryan McClure. I wrote this screenplay. It's a family-friendly animated fantasy adventure set in the Dungeons and Dragons universe. I'll be reading for Uthal, Little Yeti, Akanathi.
My name is Zachary Murray. I will be reading for narrator.
My name is Rosie Grant, and I'll be reading for Nag.
My name's Elizabeth Fulton, and I'll be reading for Auril.
I'm Elizabeth Leff, and I'm reading for Young Woman.
My name is Jonathan Ealey, and I'll be playing Scissor.
My name is Macey Schiff, and I'll be reading for Vega.
My name is Stacey Axler, and I will be reading for Shrub.
My name is Federico Settimelli, and I'll be reading for Lathander.
Teaser. Exterior, winter forest clearing, evening. Uthal, Lil Yeti, Akanathi, 19, lean Goliath ranger, fights a kobold alongside his friends. Vega, 24, muscular water genasi paladin. Nag, 35, stout gnome bard. Sizza, 27, handsome Yuan T pureblood wizard. And Cat, large white crag cat. 3 kobold corpses are on the ground near them. 2 kobolds stand with their weapons drawn.
Would you give me a lift, Vega?
Anytime, Nag.
Nag yells a battle cry and leaps into Vega's outstretched hands. Vega boosts him high into the air, above the heads of the kobolds. Nag spins head over heels in the air and shoots a crossbow arrow at one of them. It falls down dead. Nag lands gracefully.
I should write a song about that move, or at least a limerick.
Uthal takes an arrow out of his quiver and tosses it to Sizza.
Sizza, can I get a little heat?
Sizza catches the arrow.
I just like you as a friend, Uthal.
Sizza holds the arrow in front of him with one hand and runs his other hand along the arrow shaft.
And friend is being generous. Flame arrow!
The arrowhead bursts into flame. Uthal takes the flaming arrow, notches it in his bow, and shoots it at the last remaining kobold. Its clothes catch on fire and it falls down dead.
Great shot, Uthal.
Thanks, Vega. You fought pretty well too. Where did you learn that overhead spin you did at the start of the fight?
Vega twirls her glaive above her head like a propeller, then forcefully slices it downward.
From a paladin in Neverwinter. Pretty cool, right?
Sizza nonchalantly brushes dirt off his pure white cloak.
It's a little ostentatious, if you ask me.
As opposed to the spell you cast while doing a backflip through the air, Sizza.
Uthal spins around in a circle and does finger guns.
Look at me, I'm Sizza. Pew, 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 magic missile.
Nag's head pops up from behind a pile of large rocks.
I think I found the treasure the kobolds stole from the townspeople.
Vega pumps her hands in the air triumphantly.
Way to go, Nag. Treasure time.
Vega, Sizza, Uthal, and Cat join Nag behind the pile of rocks. Vega bends down and rifles through a pile of household items.
Wait, this is it? This isn't treasure.
Nag holds up a silver fork.
The people of Icewind Dale don't have much. For them, a simple set of silverware can be a treasure to pass down.
Uthal excitedly puts a fancy hat from the pile on Cat's head.
Look at you, Cat. You're a fashion meowdle.
Cat growls and falls over in protest. Uthal takes it off.
You're right. It's not your style.
Fair point, but the next time we take on a job where our payment is a percentage of the treasure recovered, we better ask exactly what was stolen.
Nag begins to compose a song on his lute.
We accept contingencies, but take note, there's a high stringency.
Nag stops playing.
It's not the most artistic of lyrics.
And the eternal battle between commerce and art rages on.
End of teaser. Act 1. Exterior, Bryn Shander, afternoon. Establishing shot of Bryn Shander, one of the 10 towns in Icewind Dale. People bundled up in heavy coats go about their day-to-day lives in this small city at the edge of civilization. Blacksmiths work their forges, merchants peddle their wares in the market, and the town watch patrols their routes. Interior, Northlick Inn Tavern, afternoon. Uthal, Vega, Sizza, and Nag sit at a table in a rowdy tavern, drinking mugs of beer. Cat sits next to Uthal, lapping up a plate of milk. Vega disappointingly hands out the rewards from their last mission.
Okay, so the reward from the kobold job is Sizza, 1 lucky rabbit foot. Uthal, a pair of reading glasses. Nag, 1 iron ladle. And I get a horseshoe.
Uthal happily puts the reading glasses on Cat. Cat shakes the glasses off, and they fall on the floor.
You know, I took out 2 of the kobolds. Everyone else just defeated 1 each.
Not everything's a competition, Uthal.
But isn't life more fun when it is?
Uthal takes out a small diary and opens it. Inside is a hand-drawn ledger with each of their names. Below their names, Uthal has made marks for the number of enemies each has vanquished. Each one of them has dozens and dozens of marks. Uthal adds 2 more marks under his name.
I knew we should have said no to that job. It was a complete waste of our immense talents. And when you factor in the cost of our supplies, we ended up losing.
Sizza waves his hand over the rabbit foot. A floating blue translucent mage hand appears and picks it up for Sizza to examine. Sizza looks it over, unimpressed, then motions for the hand to throw it away. The hand throws it to the floor, then disappears.
But Sizza, helping the downtrodden is its own reward.
Nag pours his beer from his mug into his iron ladle and drinks from it.
Some real treasure would have been a better reward. The kobolds didn't even have loot on their bodies.
Vega holds up her horseshoe, unimpressed.
What's my horse going to do with just 1 horseshoe?
She easily bends and unbends the horseshoe, then puts it in her bag. A young woman, 16, distressed, approaches their table.
Excuse me, are you the heroes of Icewind Dale? The ones from the song?
Nag excitedly jumps up from his chair, knocking it over.
Oh, you heard my song, see, Sizza. I told you the song would bring in business.
Nag pulls out his lute and begins to play.
Vega the paladin, Nag the bard, Uthal the ranger, and Sizza the wizard.
Nag jumps up on the table, knocking over their drinks.
Should you desire 4 heroes for hire, your coin, it's all they require. The heroes of Icewind Dale.
Nag takes a grandiose bow before an audience of no one. A tumbleweed rolls across the table and over his feet. Sizza's mage hand picks up his knocked over mug and pours some beer into it.
To answer your question in a more straightforward, less musical manner, yes.
The young woman falls to her knees and pleads with them.
I beg your help. My father is missing. It's been over 2 weeks.
That sounds more like a job for the town watch, not 4 renowned adventurers.
Cat roars. Sizza rolls his eyes.
Fine, 5 renowned adventurers.
The watch can't help. This isn't an ordinary disappearance.
The young woman stands up, pulls out a drawing of a magical artifact, and places it on the table.
My father was a researcher of magical artifacts. He recently acquired this thing
She points to the drawing.
and took it to his research lab outside of Caer Dineval. He said it was a powerful magic treasure and that he was going to figure out how to use it.
The young woman grabs Uthal's arm.
Something must have happened at his lab. Please help me. I don't know who else to ask.
Vega is transfixed by the drawing and caresses it.
Treasure.
She suddenly shakes her head as if snapping out of a trance.
I'm sorry, what were you saying? I heard treasure and everything after that is a bit of a blur.
She said her father needs help.
Nag walks to the young woman and consoles her.
We'll do it. Helping the downtrodden is what heroes do.
Sizza pushes the drawing towards the young woman.
On the condition that should we find your father, we keep whatever this treasure is. Not all of us are as pure of heart as my friend Nag here.
Sizza leans forward, looks around at his friends, and narrows his eyes.
We all have our own reasons for adventuring together. Let's not forget that.
The young woman pushes the drawing towards Sizza.
If you find my father, it's yours.
Exterior, barren tundra, the next afternoon. Uthal, Sizza, Nag, and Cat ride dog sleds towards the researcher's lab. Vega rides a large armored horse. Vega, Nag, and Sizza wear heavy winter clothing. Uthal wears his normal clothes. Uthal cheers the dogs on. Nag surveys the horizon with binoculars.
You can do it, Fen. Keep up the good work, Spot. Don't stop, Freya. You're next in line for a promotion. That's 1 extra copper per hour.
Uthal, what are you talking about? We don't have any promotions and we don't pay the dogs.
Uthal holds his hands up to cover his mouth so that the dogs don't hear.
I know that, SZA, but it keeps them motivated. Would you want to go to work every day with no hope for upward mobility?
Uthal cups his hands to his mouth and shouts.
And at the next team retreat, we're going to do improv games.
Nag points towards an overturned sled in the distance next to a single 3-foot-tall bush that looks weirdly out of place.
Look, over there. It looks like someone had a sled accident.
Let's check it out. Maybe they'll give us a reward for coming to their aid.
They direct the sleds towards the overturned sled. They stop several dozen yards away. Vega starts to leave the sled. SZA holds out his hand to stop her.
Wait, it could be a trap. Let me go investigate.
SZA steps out of the sled, then waves his hands over his body.
Invisibility.
As SZA's hands pass over each body part, it turns invisible. SZA, fully invisible, walks towards the overturned sled. His footsteps appear in the snow.
SZA may have his magic, but he doesn't have much experience outside in nature. Anyone can see where he is from his footprints.
Cover him, Uthal.
On it. Nothing will get close to SZA before my arrow gets it.
Uthal takes out his bow and draws an arrow, holding it ready should anything appear. SZA arrives at the overturned sled. He pays no attention to the out-of-place bush. His footsteps appear walking around the sled.
Is it gone?
SZA jumps, startled. His footprints appear quickly, going in all directions as he turns in circles.
Who said that?
I did.
Where are you? Show yourself.
Look down.
Shrub shakes its body. Piles of snow fall to the ground.
Hello.
SZA ends his invisibility, appearing next to Shrub and aggressively holding a wand at it.
What manner of creature are you?
Uthal, Nag, Vega, and Cat run up to SZA.
SZA, Nag saw your footprints freaking out with his binoculars, so we came to help. What happened?
I was just getting to the bottom of that. What happened here? Who are you?
That's what I asked you, and you know me.
SZA points to Vega with one hand, then to Shrub, not taking the wand off Shrub with his other hand.
Not you. You.
Are you feeling okay, SZA?
Cat sniffs Shrub and bites it. Shrub shakes frantically and runs behind SZA's leg for safety.
Don't let him eat me.
Cat jumps away startled, bares his fangs and growls. Nag walks around Shrub, inspecting it.
How curious. I've heard songs of powerful druids able to give plants sentience and the ability to talk and walk, but I've never seen it myself.
Uthal bends down next to Shrub.
I'm sorry Cat tried to eat you. What happened here?
My master and I were traveling towards Caer Dinaval when she decided to stop and take a short rest here. While she was resting, some big monster burst up from the snow and attacked her. I went into plant mode while they fought, hoping it would leave me alone.
Plant mode?
Yeah, plant mode. Watch.
Vega waits expectantly. Shrub doesn't do anything.
You're not doing anything.
Exactly. Nothing sane would attack a plant.
I know what attacked you.
Uthal points to a set of Yeti tracks in the snow.
These are Yeti tracks. Big Yeti tracks. Huge.
Uthal surveys the horizon.
I don't see any sign of your master. The Yeti must have carried her off after killing her.
She's dead? How can you be sure?
Once a Yeti attacks, it will keep fighting until it or its prey is dead.
If the Yeti was able to defeat such a powerful druid, it must be quite strong.
Not as strong as the 4 of us combined.
Cat roars at SZA. SZA rolls his eyes.
Okay, the 5 of us combined.
Vega bends down next to Shrub.
I'm sorry about your master.
It's okay. I didn't like having her as my master. She did a lot of bad things to a lot of good people.
Nag approaches Shrub.
Do you have a name?
No, my master never gave me one.
Uthal strokes his chin, thinking deeply.
How about Shrub?
Shrub, not very original, but exactly what I would expect from someone who named their cat Cat.
Shrub. I like it.
Would you like to come with us, Shrub? It's not safe for you to be in the tundra all alone. Any animal could come up and eat you.
Will there be danger where you're going?
Almost certain.
But at least if you come with us, we'll fight whatever danger we come across together. We're a team.
Shrub turns towards each of them and assesses its options.
Stay here and get eaten, or head into unknown danger and probably get killed. It doesn't feel like much of a choice. I guess I'll go with all of you. Just promise me you'll keep the cat away from me.
Cat roars at Shrub. Shrub yells in fright. Exterior, research lab, evening. Uthal, Vega, Sizza, Nag, Cat, and Shrub arrive at a clearing several dozen yards away from the research lab. A one-level stone hut in the middle of the woods. The windows and door of the lab have been blown off from an explosion inside. The yard is littered with remnants from the explosion. Uthal, Sizza, Nag, and Cat jump off their sleds. Vega dismounts her horse.
Wait, are you all leaving?
We took a job to investigate the research lab and find a missing father. We have to go in.
But you can't leave me here. It looks dangerous.
You're welcome to come with us.
Shrub dives into the hollow of one of the sleds, trying to hide. Shrub doesn't fit.
No, that place is even more dangerous. It looks like there was an explosion.
Uthal picks up Shrub and places it on the ground.
Ow, that's my head.
Oh, sorry.
Uthal spins Shrub 180 degrees and puts it down again.
We have to go in, but I have an idea.
Uthal removes the two short swords belted to his waist and sticks one into each side of Shrub, giving it sword arms.
Perfect. Now you can defend yourself against any monster.
But I'm just a bush. I don't know how to fight.
Believe in yourself. That's the place to start. We wouldn't have the courage to fight any bad guys if we didn't believe in ourselves.
Try spinning around like this.
Vega holds up her glaive, spins like a cyclone, yells an intimidating battle cry, then jumps forward and cuts down several trees. Birds and squirrels run from the trees as they fall. Shrub tries to imitate Vega, but it spins comically slow, yells a pathetic shout, runs into a tree, and falls down.
Yeah.
Cat covers his eyes with his paws to stop seeing the embarrassment.
Well, I can honestly say that's the best sword fighting that I've ever seen from a plant.
Uthal bends down next to Shrub.
I tell you what, as soon as we get back to town, I'll be your trainer. I'll get you into tip-top topiary shape. But for now, why don't you stay here in plant mode and make sure the dogs get a good rest after all that running?
I guess I can do that. Dogs don't eat shrubs.
Great. They're part of the team too, just like you now.
Got it. Plant mode activated.
Nothing happens.
All right, everyone, let's go. It's treasure time.
Sizza, Nag, Vega, Uthal, and Cat stealthily walk toward the lab. Uthal leads the way. Nag sings under his breath.
We have arrived, so we'd better get this party started.
Uthal holds up his hand, signaling them to stop.
Stop. I hear something.
Suddenly, an enormous Yeti bursts through the wall of the research hut. It lets out a blood-curdling roar.
We've got company.
End of Act 1. Act 2. Exterior Research Lab, continuous. SZA, Vega, Cat, and Nag prepare for battle. SZA pulls out his wand. Vega raises her glaive. Nag pulls out a dagger, and Cat crouches, ready to pounce. The Yeti bangs its chest and snarls at them.
This beast is no match for a magic missile.
SZA extends his wand towards the Yeti and begins muttering an incantation.
No!
Uthal jumps towards SZA and tackles him. They both tumble to the ground.
Uthal, what are you doing?
The Yeti charges at Nag. Nag runs to a nearby tree, runs several feet up the trunk, and jumps from it towards the Yeti's face with his knife extended. Uthal, still prone on the ground, shoots an arrow and knocks it out of Nag's hand. The Yeti swats Nag in the air with its massive hand. Nag flies through the air and hits the ground, rolling over himself.
Uthal, have you gone mad?
Don't hurt the Yeti!
Exterior, back at the sleds, continuous. Shrub hears the Yeti's roar, the sound of fighting in the distance.
Oh no, it sounds like they're fighting. I knew it was gonna be dangerous.
Shrub walks several steps towards the research lab, then stops.
Wait, I should be going away from the danger.
Shrub runs back towards the sleds, its sword arms flopping at its side with each step, then jumps over one of the sleds and hides behind it. Shrub pokes its head over the sled and looks towards the research lab.
But what if they need help?
Shrub quickly lowers himself behind the sled again.
But what could I do to help? I'm just a plant.
Shrub walks over to the side of the sled and peeks around it.
No, they're the good guys, and you should always help the good guys.
Shrub stops peeking around the sled, presses its back against the sled, and gives itself a pep talk.
I don't even have to fight. I can just run over there and see what I can do to help.
Shrub determinedly steps out from behind the sled. Standing before Shrub are two goats chewing cud.
Where did you two come from?
The goats bleat, lick their lips, and aggressively step toward Shrub. Shrub frantically runs away.
No, don't eat me.
The goats follow after Shrub, bleating as they go. Exterior, research lab, continuous. SZA, Uthal, and Nag are still on the ground. Vega points her glaive at the Yeti and slowly backs away. She looks back and forth at them and the Yeti.
What should I do?
Attack the Yeti.
No, don't.
The Yeti lunges at Vega and swipes downward at her with its claws. Vega dodges the attack, raises her glaive over her head, then slashes down at one of the Yeti's exposed arms. Vega wounds the Yeti, but with its other hand, the monster grabs the weapon, rips it from Vega's hands, and throws it to the side.
Enough of this!
SZA jumps up, throws open his cloak, and begins conjuring a large fireball.
Fireball!
SZA hurls the fireball at the Yeti. It explodes at the monster's feet. The monster jumps back, its eyes wide with fright.
Scared of fire, are you? There's more where that came from.
SZA begins summoning another fireball. Uthal quickly jumps up and runs between SZA and the Yeti. He yells at the monster in Yeti, a language of snarls, roars, and screams.
Get out of here, or he'll roast you alive.
The Yeti steps back several feet, roars at Uthal, then leaps onto the roof of the research lab. On the roof, it lets out another blood-curdling roar. The Yeti jumps off the roof out of view.
Okay, raise your hand if you knew Uthal spoke Yeti.
No one raises their hand. Vega angrily approaches Uthal.
Uthal, what happened back there? We could have been killed.
Uthal looks Vega dead in the eyes.
I'll die before I let anyone hurt a Yeti.
Care to tell us why?
I don't want to talk about it now. Come on, let's go.
Uthal walks into the research lab with Kat.
It looks like Uthal cast avoid the conversation.
Interior, research lab, continuous. Siza, Vega, and Nag join Uthal inside the research lab. It is filled with remnants from the explosion, burned and broken furniture, and books, scrolls, and artifacts haphazardly strewn on the ground. Parchment pages with handwritten notes are pasted on the walls.
I think we found the girl's father.
Uthal points to the center of the room, to an ashen outline of an adult human grasping a magical artifact in its hand. Exterior, forest, continuous. Shrub bursts through some forest shrubbery, throws itself onto a nearby fallen tree trunk, runs upward along it, and jumps onto a nearby tree branch. Moments later, the goats jump out of the shrubbery.
Leave me alone!
The goats circle underneath the tree branch, looking up at Shrub. They jump up and try to bite it. Shrub paces back and forth on the tree limb.
What do I do? I'm just a plant. I can't stop these monsters.
Shrub abruptly stops.
Wait a minute. That's it. Uthal gave me these to defend myself against monsters.
Shrub shakes its sword arms.
I just have to believe in myself. I hope you're right about this, Vega.
Shrub spins around in a circle, yells out a battle cry, jumps off the branch, and lands still spinning between the goats. Shrub charges at the goats. Startled, they run away.
I did it! Plant mode level up! Now to get out of here before they come back.
Shrub runs into the forest, back towards the sleds. Interior, research lab, continuous. Siza crouches next to the ashen outline, comparing the drawing of the magical artifact to the item on the floor. It looks like a large, ornate Rubik's Cube.
This device is the same as the one the girl's father acquired.
Vega reaches out to take the artifact.
Yes, treasure.
Siza holds up his hand to stop her.
Wait, whatever this thing is could have caused the explosion. We'd best not touch it until we know more about it.
Maybe there's a clue on one of these notes on the wall.
Vega, Uthal, Siza, and Nag carefully inspect the notes pasted on the wall.
We're looking for cube clues. We're looking for cube clues. We're looking for cube clues. I wonder where they are.
Vega throws her hands up in frustration.
There's too many notes. Let's just take the treasure and run.
Maybe you're fine with taking that risk, Vega, but I'm not.
Shrub rushes into the research hut, dragging its sword arms behind it. Siza continues investigating the notes. The others stop.
I'm here. I'm here. I was chased by a pack of leaf-thirsty goats, but I drove them off, just like you taught me, Vega. Then, when I got back to the dogs, I saw some huge Yeti jump off the roof. You know, I'm scared, but I'm here to help.
Thank you, Shrub. That's very brave of you. But we're all good now. The Yeti ran away.
Oh, thank goodness.
Siza rips a note from the wall.
This is it. Look, it's a drawing of the artifacts with a diagram showing how to open it.
Can you open it?
Siza studies the diagram, then hands it to Vega.
Of course. It looks simple enough.
Siza walks to the artifact. He waves his hand over it, and the translucent blue floating mage hand appears. It lifts up the artifact and begins manipulating it like a Rubik's Cube.
One twist here, another twist there, a little pressure here, and...
Wait, no, stop.
Siza stops manipulating the artifact. Vega approaches Siza.
Look here, at the top. The directions were originally written in Celestial and then translated into Common at the bottom. You were reading the translation, right?
Yes. I don't know Celestials. So what?
As a paladin and a student of the divine, I do. And this last part of the translation is wrong. It says to turn it as day passes. so it should be moved counterclockwise, like how the sun moves, east to west. But the translation says clockwise. Whoever translated this must have been thinking of a clock moving forward when picturing the passing of a day.
Vega points to the ashen outline on the ground.
This guy must have moved it incorrectly and set off some kind of magic trap.
Way to go, Vega! Brains and brawn.
I've always wanted a smoking hot body, but not literally. All right, twisting it counterclockwise.
SZA twists the artifact counterclockwise. The artifact splits into two and falls to the ground through the floating hand. It hits the ground and begins to shake. A point of light appears in the air above it. It slowly expands into a small portal.
Is that supposed to happen?
Vega quickly reads the diagram and flips the paper over.
I don't know. It doesn't say anything here about a portal.
Suddenly, the entire hut begins to shake. Whatever objects were still upright fall to the ground. The floor of the hut begins to frost over. Cold mist creeps inside. The sun begins to darken, and the temperature inside the hut drops.
This is scary.
Auril, the Frostmaiden, 10-foot tall, hunched bipedal god with a snow owl's head, a pair of curled ram's horns, cloven hooves, and arms that end in sharp talons, knocks down one of the hut's walls and screeches at them.
We've got more company.
End of Act 2. Act 3. Interior Research Lab. Continuous. Auril continues to screech. She steps into the hut. The portal continues to slowly expand.
Do we think this is a friend or foe?
You will not stop me.
Auril raises her hand and casts a frost beam at SZA. SZA jumps out of the way just in time. The frost beam creates a hole in the wall behind him.
Foe, definitely foe.
Shrub runs towards the portal, which is now just big enough for Shrub to fit through.
I am getting out of here.
Shrub, wait. You don't know where that portal goes.
I know it goes where she's not.
Shrub disappears into the portal.
Who are you? What do you want?
Silence, impudent wench.
Hey, don't talk to Vega like that.
Uthal fires an arrow at Auril. Nag fires a crossbow bolt. Auril catches both in midair and throws them to the ground. Vega runs towards Auril and leaps at her with her glaive held out ready to strike. Cat pounces at Auril with his claws ready to slash. Auril swats both of them out of the air. They fly backwards and hit the back wall. The portal is now even larger.
You seem to like the cold. Well, how about a little fireball to warm you up?
SZA conjures a fireball in his hands, then hurls it towards Auril. Just as it is about to hit Auril, a wall of ice armor appears in front of her. The fireball hits the armor and explodes. Auril is untouched. Auril holds both hands up and directs a concentrated snowstorm at them. They are all blown off their feet.
Whoever this is, she's too strong for us.
Nag points to the portal. By now, it is the size of a large door.
Look, the portal. Someone's coming through it.
Lathander, 11-foot tall, handsome male god with burning orange fire hair and a body that radiates bright sunlight, steps out of the portal, holding Shrub.
What is going on out here? Why did a bush come running screaming into my home?
No, go back in the portal. Go back in the portal.
Lathander surveys the situation. His eyes narrow with anger when he sees Auril.
Auril, causing more chaos and carnage, I see.
Auril screeches.
Lathander, this is my land. I rule it now, not you. Begone.
Auril holds up one hand and a large icicle javelin forms. She throws it at Lathander. Lathander holds up one hand and the icicle javelin melts before it hits him. Water falls to the floor. Lathander puts Shrub down.
It looks like you all could use some help.
Yes, please.
Lathander's hand radiates daylight. He points to Uthal, Vega, Sizza, Cat, Shrub, and Nag. An ornate glowing glyph appears over each of their heads. He takes a deep breath and blows out an incredibly strong breath of wind. Everything in the lab but them flies out. The glyphs over their heads glow brighter and protect them from the wind. Auril is blown backwards. She digs into the hut's walls with her talons, but she is not strong enough to withstand the wind. Auril is blown away until she is nothing but a speck on the horizon. Lathander falls to his knees, exhausted. The glyphs over their heads fade.
Are you okay?
Vega helps Lathander to his feet.
I will be. I used a lot of my power.
That thing called you Lathander, as in the Lathander, the god of the dawn?
The one and only.
And what is a deity doing here?
You all tell me. You summon me.
Lathander points to the magic artifact on the ground and the portal above it.
My followers use those devices to summon me whether in need of aid. This was the last one in all of the Icewind Dale.
Well, we're not your followers. We were just here investigating this lab, but we certainly needed the help.
You called that creature Auril. I thought Auril was just a legend, a scary story to tell children around the campfire.
Montage. Images of Auril. Auril sits on a throne of ice inside her fortress, a large stone building in the shape of a skull.
Auril is no story. She is the Frostmaiden, the goddess of winter.
Auril walks through a small town. She points to each building she passes. Each building becomes covered in ice. People flee from her. She freezes them in place. Auril turns the entire town and everyone in it into ice.
Auril is a cruel goddess, unpredictable and capricious. She is the embodiment of winter wrath. For centuries, Auril viciously ruled over this land.
A large army carrying the sigils of Icewind Dale's 10 towns charges towards Auril's fortress. They fight back her minions, frost giants, reanimated frost giant skeletons, ice-covered zombies with glowing eyes, frost druids, and some human warriors, and breach the fortress's defenses.
Eventually, the people of Icewind Dale rose up and fought against her. Together and united, they were able to overcome her and her minions.
Inside the fortress, a group of wizards, sorcerers, and druids cast magical beams of energy at Auril. The bodies of fallen warriors lay on the ground nearby. The magical beams encase Auril in ice.
The most powerful magic users in the land froze her in a tomb of ice. For generations, she slumbered there.
Auril sleeps encased in her icy tomb. Suddenly, her eyes open. The ice splits down the middle.
But their magic was not strong enough to last forever.
Auril stands atop a cliff. She raises her hands and dark storm clouds emanate from them. The clouds extend and plunge the land before Auril into a dark snowstorm.
Now that she's free, Auril wants nothing more than to plunge this land into a cold, dark, endless winter and rule over it forever.
Auril rips open the doors of one of Lathander's temples. Inside, clerics and paladins, Lathander's followers, fight Auril. She defeats them one by one. A few of Lathander's followers escape from the temple as it becomes encased in ice.
Naturally, Auril does not get along with my followers, who worship the light and rebirth. She has driven almost all of them from Icewind Dale to the warmer lands in the south. Those who remain live in secret.
End montage. Lathander picks up both halves of the magical artifact and examines them.
She must have sensed you using the magic from this and thought you were among them.
And you what? Just decided to help us out of the goodness of your heart?
No, not mine. Yours. When I stepped out of the portal, I sensed oral wickedness overwhelming the goodness of your heart. I lend my strength to any hero who fights against evil and fear.
Nag runs over and hugs SZA.
See, SZA, you put on a tough act, but I knew you were good at heart. It just took an all-powerful God to reveal it.
All-powerful? No, because I have few followers left in Icewind Dale. My power in this land is limited.
But Auril's gone now. You blew her away. She won't bother us anymore.
I'm afraid not. Before I use my power against Auril, I marked each of you with my sign so that you will not be affected.
The glyphs above their heads briefly glow, then fade away.
Auril will be able to sense those. She'll continue to hunt you down herself, or send her minion after you for as long as you remain in this land.
We'll just reason with her. Tell her we're not your followers.
Reason? With Auril? Can you reason with a blizzard? No. She cannot be reasoned with. Auril will always see you as a threat to her bow now.
Uthal bends down and speaks to Cat.
So, for as long as we're in Icewind Dale, my home, we are Auril's enemy.
Uthal stands and addresses his friends.
Icewind Dale isn't your home. If you all want to leave, go ahead. I won't stop you. But Cat and I will stay and fight for our people.
Uthal, Nag, me, and SZA may not be from Icewind Dale, but we're a team now, and teammates help each other out.
And if we're the good guys, we have to stop Auril's evil plans. We are the heroes of Icewind Dale, after all.
You can say whatever you want about the goodness of my heart, Lathander. But I plan to stay in Icewind Dale, uncover its secrets, and become an even more powerful wizard. So it looks like the four of us will just have to contend with Auril together.
Cat roars at SZA. SZA rolls his eyes.
All right, the five of us.
The people of this land deserve to be free from Auril. I'll try to help you as best as I can, but it takes a tremendous amount of my power to appear in her domain. I must leave and regain my strength. It will be a while before we see each other again.
Lathander steps halfway into the portal. He turns to them.
Seek out my remaining followers. They may be help for you. Good luck.
Lathander walks through the portal. It closes behind them.
Well, at least we're safe for now.
Cat meows, pounces at Shrub, tosses Shrub into the air, and plays with it like a ball of string.
Ah, you said we were safe.
Interior, Northlook Inn Tavern. The following evening, SZA, Uthal, Vega, and Nag sit on one side of a long table. The young woman sits opposite them. Cat runs back and forth, playing with a piece of rope. Shrub sits on the floor. SZA's floating, translucent blue mage hand pours water on Shrub from a watering can.
When we arrived at the lab, we found the remains of your father. The artifact you showed us had a magic trap, and he fell victim to it. I'm sorry.
Thank you for investigating. At least I know what happened to him.
I hope that brings you some peace of mind.
It does. A little.
The young woman dabs her eyes with a kerchief.
To tell you the truth, I knew something bad would happen to my father at that lab someday. But I was sure it was going to be from that Yeti.
Wait, you knew about the Yeti?
It was a guard Yeti. My father bought it from a traveling merchant years ago, when it was just a cub.
That's ridiculous. You can't train a Yeti. They're ferocious, wild animals.
Why didn't you tell us about it beforehand?
I thought if I did, you would be less likely to go.
Vega slams the table with her fists and jumps up.
Darn right we would. Or at least have asked for money up front.
Vega turns to her friends.
All right, new rule. Any job we accept has a 40% surcharge if the client leaves out important details. Agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Nag pulls out his lute and sings.
For heroes for hire, gold they require, terms and conditions apply.
It needs a little work.
We have time to fine-tune it on our next adventure. For now, let's just enjoy each other's company.
SZA, Vega, Nag, and Uthal grab their drinks and happily chat into the night. End.